Okay, English 1301 students at El Paso Community College, welcome back. We're going to talk today about your first major assignment. I want to thank you for sending in those notes that you did about yourself. Once again, I enjoyed reading those and getting to know you. Once again, class, those aren't going to be graded, but it was a good assignment to once again hear from you and learn a little bit about you. Today, class, we're going to talk about, and I'm going to lecture on your first major assignment, which is due, as I mentioned in the announcement I sent out just a couple days ago on the 1st this week in Memoir writing. I mentioned that for two of the sections that I'm teaching, it's due on the 10th, and that will be, once again, sections number 21288 and 21305. Your memoir is going to be due that day on the 10th. So still plenty of time to keep working on that. And then because of the different situation on 21308 and 21355, your memoir portfolio will be due on the 16th. So once again, time and plenty of time to work on that. And then, class, in order to have a complete portfolio that will be turned in that day, I will show you and send you in the handout section the correct format, once again, for a properly formatted essay, once again, for English 1301. I'll give you an example of what that looks like. It talks about that on the syllabus on 1-inch margins. It talks about double spacing, etc., etc. And so I will show you exactly how a paper looks before you turn it in. But basically, as it says on our course policies and calendar, that it is double spaced. And once again, our course policies and calendar, double space, proper 1-inch margins, no extra spacing between the lines, title centered, and I will get that to you. In fact, I have an example here, or I do have examples of that, and I'll certainly send you that perfect example of what that essay will look like in the handout section. And then what you can do is, once again, format it accordingly. Class, very good. I may even at the end of the day slip away and grab a copy of it, but we have it anyway for you. And I'll go over that. Part of my situation as a professor is to help you with this sort of thing, and that's what I'm here to do. So, very good. So you have the deadlines and what needs to be done. Once again, a complete portfolio that you'll send through Blackboard messages to me, and you send them a separate document. It will be, once again, a draft of the essay, verification from the writing center that you workshop the essay there, and then the final draft of your essay that'll be formatted the way that I will show you for a college level formatted essay. And then, class, that's what I will grade and get back to you. And remember, class, that one of the things I will do is I'll actually grade these. I don't have a teaching assistant. I grade them myself. And my job as a professor is to grade these essays like I was graded in college and at the university. Once again, so I will give you feedback on your writing and let you know where you are. in regards to the language, in regard to, once again, essay writing. So I'll be helping you with that now. So, class, let's get into talking about the memoir today and what you're going to have due for me once again on the 10th for those classes I mentioned, and then on the 16th. Now, excuse me, in so far you've had the handouts, you've done the reading. If you have kept up with the reading, you know where we are. Class, in this handout called Memoirs, Personal Experience, you read about the memoir writing. You know what we're up to here. You know about the genre. And in here also was an example of a first class memoir. And that was Gary Soto's, once again, Black Hair. Okay? So that's the type of writing you're going to do for me. Am I expecting you to be Gary Soto? No. Gary Soto, as it mentioned here, is the great Chicano writer from California. Black Hair is a beautiful piece of memoir writing. Your essay for me will be 700 to 1,000 words. All right? No more, no less. Okay? 700 to 1,000 words. Gary Soto's essay is a brilliant piece of memoir writing where he's doing what you're going to do for me. He's going back. For him, it's from the place of being a fully grown man, going back and remembering a place and time when he was a runaway and he was 17. All right? And then he gives it to us. And there's a lot there, class. He's talking about culture. He's talking about his people. He's talking about being frustrated at 17. He's talking about what he learned, once again, in going from Fresno, around the Central Valley of California, and coming down to basically Los Angeles and working at the Valley Tire Factory. And then in the end, he gives us his epiphany of, once again, what he's learned about this experience. Beautiful piece of writing. And he does what you're going to do for me. So that's why we're studying this. Now, then there's Annie Dillard, who, in this essay that you've read for me in your handouts that I've sent you, Throwing Snowballs, she is a woman who is looking back on what it meant to be a young girl in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a time when she was 10. She, once again, class, drops the reader in, what you're going to do for me, into a very specific time and place, and captures possibly about a 2-hour period a long time ago when she was a young girl in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And so she drops us into the place, she drops us into the action, and in the end, she lets us know, in some ways, what she learned about life. All right? And how she's reflecting on this, of this pace and time. She's talking about, once again, what it's like to be young. What it's like to have not a lot of cares and worries. And she drops us into that man, once again, in the black Buick. And the terror after they hit him in the head with a snowball. Right? And so this was a portrait of youth before, once again, things happen to all of us when we grow up, where, or most of us, We may have to pay the rent, like the man in the Buick does, or we have to go to a job. Excuse me. Or we have a mortgage payment, or we got to pay the electrical bill, or for some people, maybe they have kids at home. Her throwing snowballs or a portrait of youth, as with Gary Soto. Once again, class, with Gary Soto and black hair, he was a runaway. I never ran away from home. You may have. I don't know. But no matter who we are, I believe that any of us would have imagined what it would be like to take off when we were 17. And he does. He beautifully writes about it. Concrete language, concrete images, concrete epiphany. All things you're going to do for me. In 700 to 1,000 words in your memoir, which is going to be due February 10th or February 16th, according to the course policies and calendar of what class you're in. And once again, the Writing Center will look it over and help you with it. And then you're going to send it to me. Class, the Valle Verde and Mission Del Paso Writing Center. I've already sent you a handout. Under handouts on Blackboard that talks about how to contact them, how to work with them, etc., etc. The Writing Center will help you. Will it give you the language completely? No. Will it do all the work for you? No. Does it help? Yes. Will I help? Yes. To let you know where you are in regards to your skills at college level writing. All right? So that's what I'm here to help you with. So is the Writing Center. Now, once again, class, your essay will be 700 to 1,000 words. When you go to write it, think about where we are of Gary Soto and Annie Dillard. Remember, that's the type of writing you're doing, a memoir, which you've read about. Now, for homework, it asks you to think about different ways to think about two possibilities that you could write about. All right? So, I'm going to lecture on that today. In the end, you'll come up with one. And remember, it needs to be an important time in your life, something big that happened, something that changed you. 700 to 1,000 words, double spaced, is about 2.5 pages or 3 pages of copy. Double spaced, 12-point type. $700,000 words. So you need to be thinking about, and I'm sure you already have from what was on the course policies and calendar about the homework, what can I write about? What are you going to write about, class? So now I want you to make sure concretely after my lecture today that you have 2 possibilities, and then you'll get it down to the 1 possibility. And then that is, once again, what you're going to write about. And remember when you're writing your drafts, class, to be good to yourself. Just try and do some free writing. Try and get the words down on the page. Be good to yourself. Try and get it down as fast as you can. An initial draft, we'll talk about that. 700 to 1,000 words, you do it in a journal. Just try and get the words down fast. You can worry about making the corrections later. Class, writing is this situation where we try and get words down on the page. And wherever we are, that's where we are. You don't beat yourself up about, I'm no good, or though my skills are no good, or whatever. Class, we're all somewhere in the process of writing. And then I'm giving you permission to be completely yourself, right? As I have to be myself. Be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And wherever you are, once again, you're going to go out from there. Continue the journey. You know, I always have students that come up to me and say, you know what, Mr. Welsh, my English skills aren't very good. Mr. Welsh, I can't write very well. Mr. Welsh, English is my second language. I said, that's great. If English is your second language, that's fantastic. That means that possibly your Spanish is better than mine. So that's great. I'm still working on mine. I give you all the respect in the world, and it's important to me. Now the question is, what are you going to do about the English language, right? How much do you have to work? Don't compare yourself to anyone else. We're all somewhere. Some people have to work harder than others. Are you with me, class? And that's all right. My daughter used to come home from El Paso High freshman year and she'd say, oh, Daddy, Maria has it so much easier tonight. She hardly has to work on her essays. She gets straight A's in these classes. And Daddy, I have to work hard. Why can't I be like Maria? I said, Megan, my daughter, Megan McNeil Welsh, you can't be like Maria. You have to be yourself. But Daddy, I have to work so hard. I said, Megan, your father, me, has to work so hard. Writing's never come that easy to me. I have to work. Okay? So if I have to work, you have to work. He said, Daddy, writing's sometimes tough. I said, I know, I'm a writer. Okay? There's always been someone who's more ahead of the game or did better in college than I did or better at the university than I did. I had to give myself permission to be me, as she had to give herself permission to be Megan McNeil Welsh. Okay? Daddy, I had to work so hard. Maria doesn't have to work. So you really don't know about Maria, what's going on in her life. Just be yourself. Remember that your father, which is me, is not the smartest guy in the world. Your father has to work hard, still, as a professor and a writer. Your father struggles, just like you do. Give yourself permission to be yourself. I'll never forget when she brought me her essay because she wanted to go away to college. And she brought me that essay that they helped her write at El Paso High, the counselors. And she was thinking about going to these different schools. And she put hours and hours and hours and hours and hours into this short essay. It's what it takes sometimes. And I read it. I made a couple corrections. I said, Megan, this is beautiful, man. It's a beautiful, heartfelt essay. Daddy, it took me hours and hours and hours and hours and hours to write it. I said, it shows. I struggled with it, Daddy. I said, I know. And she has seen me struggle. Sometimes for days and days and days on one piece of writing. I've got students in English 1301 who are faster than I am. And I spent years as a newspaper reporter in Los Angeles, and I published 12 books. But I struggle. Give yourself permission to be yourself. How much do you have to put in time into an essay? Hours, class. One time I had a student, we were still meeting in class. She said, Mr. Welsh, do you realize that I put in 20 hours on that one essay for you? I met her after class. I said, yeah, I realize it. And she said, why? I said, because it took me 5 minutes to grade it. It's perfect. In Espanol, este perfecto. But I'm not looking for that from everyone. Writing takes work to get it, together. It takes work. This essay is going to take work. Beautiful essay. She said, I work so hard, Mr. Welsh. I said, I know. I may look stupid, but I'm not completely stupid. I know what's going on. I can read students' work. So class, to wrap up, give yourself permission to be you, whoever you are. Be kind to yourself. If you don't think right now you got the skills, keep working, keep writing. 2 years ago, I had a student smash down his fist in my office at the community college. I said, what's up, Javier? What's up? He said, Mr. Welsh, I feel so stupid. I said, I told him, be good to yourself. He'd written me 3 failing essays. I said, what's going on? He goes, well, I went to Bowie. And I said, Bowie's cool. Bowie's the pride of the South Side. You should be proud that you're a Bowie Bear. And he said, I'm not. I said, why? He said, they put me in the dummy classes at Bowie. They put me in the dummy classes at Bowie. And I never got what I needed in high school. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. How much are you reading? Mr. Welsh, I don't read. What the hell are you doing in college if you don't read? I didn't talk to him like that. So you got to read. I said, how much time are you putting into these essays? Very little, Mr. Welsh. I said, well, how are you spending your time? He said, Mr. Welsh, 10 hours a day I'm on video games on the Xbox. And I'm a dumb. I said, listen, don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. But you're going to have to get off the Xbox. Or at least spend a little bit of time reading. And not so much time on the video games, because this is college. He slammed his fist down. He said, Mr. Wells, I'm a dumb. I said, listen, I don't want to hear about that. Be good to yourself. Bowie's a cool school. It's a pride of the South Side. I've spent time there. I dig it. I've taken my kids there for band competitions. My daughter and my sons played basketball there. In fact, last night he was at Austin High School. My son was playing on the JV team. Had a bad injury last year. But last night they grinded out a victory over Austin High. It's cool. My son tore his ACL. He's back in the game. He's not exactly where he wanted to be, but he's back in it. They beat Austin last night. Varsity lost Austin last night. Well, I saw Austin High School warming up. I was watching the stream games. I thought to myself, ooh, man, they got a bunch of football players playing basketball. They're a strong team. It's all good. How much you going to work? Okay? Forget about comparing yourself to anyone. You be you. I'll be me. My son will be Patrick or Patricio in Espanol. My daughter will be Megan. She's now at the University of Texas at Austin. After going to UTEP for years and the community college. God love her. You be you. How much you going to have to work? That student from Bowie stopped me a year later in the hall. Oh, Mr. Wells, thank you for helping me. I said, that's what I do. I'm a professor. I'm helping you. But once again, you got to get it together. Did he pass my class? No. But later on, he passed from the skills I helped him. He wasn't ready. He didn't have the skills then. Okay? And I told him, This is college. I can't pass you on like some of your high school teachers did. You have to have the skills. I'm here to help them. I like them. I said, don't beat yourself up. Don't call yourself a dummy because you went to what you said, dummy classes at Bowie. Come on now. What are you going to do about it now? You're in college. What are you going to do about it now? Let's do it. I'll help you. I've gotten through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students over 20 years. English 1301. Some of them don't make it the first time. Sometimes they make it the second time. Mr. Wells, can I take the class with you again? Yes. You're going to hear the same jokes. But yeah, you can take the class. Or take it with someone else. If you want to take it with a professor that won't grade your papers, go do it. I don't care. I'm here to help. I told that student to be good to himself. Oh, thank you, Mr. Wells. Saw me a year later. You taught me a lot. Now I passed English 1301. I said, cool. You know, I want the best for you. How much time you spending on Xbox? Once again, how much time you spending on the PlayStation? Nothing wrong with those things. My son has a new PlayStation game. I like sometimes dropping in and watching it with him. But I know myself too, as a writer, as a journalist, which I did for 5 years in Los Angeles, as a newspaper reporter, I got to watch my time. Because I got new things to do. I got new goals, new aspirations, new books to publish, hopefully. Maybe nobody will want them. I don't know, man. It's mysterious. Stay in the game. Class. So, think about what you want to write about. Narrow. Focus. The date, the time. How old were you? Can you drop us in? Can you drop us out? I'm going to lecture a little bit about memoir writing. Because class, you gotta get this together. Class. And this illuminates the handouts, it illuminates your textbook readings. This is it. The major challenge that writers face when they write from recall is to focus. How are you going to focus your essay? When writing about a familiar and often very powerful personal experiences, writers often have difficulty making objective decisions about the most effective method of presenting that experience to readers. So you may know now what you're going to write about, or you're going to need to know. Have one or two things, narrow it down, find out where are you going to drop us in, what date and time, what are you going to write about, and then how are you going to write it. First of all, you write it by starting. You don't have to have a fancy pen like this. Get it down. Paper, new notebook paper and a pen. Start throwing words down, however you're going to do it. On a computer, throw it down. Try and get something on the page, and then later, you'll be able to clean it up. But you got to get something first on the page. So at first, maybe all these details come to mind, but you got to figure out how to focus. If you're not certain about what your purpose is in writing about an event, what you want to show your readers about your experience, your narrative is likely to read like a long laundry list of details. So start thinking, how am I going to hit this? How am I going to get in and get out in 700 to 1,000 words? What point am I going to make? You may find that the minute you are asked to write about a significant experience in your life, the very incident will flash to mind. Most writers, though, will need a little time to shake down their memories. Need a little time to shake down your memories. Probably what will come to you first will be recent memories, but give long ago memories time to surface. Be ready for any recollections that well up unexpectedly. Often, when you are busy doing something else, like observing a scene or reading or thinking, something else will pop into your mind. Where it comes from, we don't know. That's the mystery. But when a promising one surfaces, write it down. It may be the start of your essay. Okay? So maybe you're reading Gary Soto, Black Hair, that great piece of writing, and it triggered a memory for you. Okay? Are you doing that homework that I had you do? It triggers a memory for you. When you're reading about Annie Dillard, triggered a memory. I also have that homework assignment where I wanted you to go through old journals. Or if you didn't keep a journal, maybe a picture. Something that once again triggered something from the past. Something maybe of culture, etc., etc. Try brainstorming, it tells us. Brainstorming is a good way to jog your memory. When you brainstorm, you try to come up with as many ideas as you can without any thought for their form or practical applications. You just jot down ideas for a certain amount of time and see what thoughts lead. You can start by just doing it. So, class, say, here's what I do sometimes. You can set your phone or your watch or your alarm clock or whatever and say, you know what? I'm going to say 30 minutes. And you get some paper out. Some paper and pen. Here, hold on. Let's see what they are. I could lie to you and tell you, that I don't write. But once again, I do every day for 35 years. So, get out paper and pen. And then you just hit it. Let the words flow. Get it down, paper and pen. Once again, it doesn't have to be fancy ink. It doesn't have to be a fancy journal. It doesn't have to be fancy pens. But give yourself the time. Hope there's no swear words on here. Get me fired, Mr. Welsh swearing in his journal. Once again, give yourself time to get it down. Fast. Brainstorming. Trying to hit it. Okay? This is just one of my journals in my special. No. How many of these journals do I have? Stacks and stacks and stacks of them. Does it make me special? No. What does it make me? A writer, I think, and a poet who's still in the game and still trying to come up in the world, class. So same for you. Is that upside down? I don't know what the hell's going on. Anyway, so just write it down, brainstorm, bam, bam. And when you're brainstorming, you try and just go as fast as you can, thinking about what you're writing about as fast as you can. And that gets you out of the head and into heart. And that's a great place to be. Okay? Fast as you can. Just get it down. And then what'll happen is in the end, at least you'll have something down on the page. And you'll say, wow, there's a good idea. Or maybe there's the start of my essay. Or maybe I banged some aspect of the essay out. Once again. Some aspect of it. And then once again, you take it from there. Okay, upside down, right side up. Pretty colored ink, non-pretty colored inks. Class. Try to come up with as many days as you can without any thought for the form, the practical applications. And then class, be good to yourself. Let's try and get words down on the page. Don't say like, I'm not that good with punctuation right now. Forget that. I don't know the correct word. Forget that. Just try and get things down. Give yourself kindness to be you, class, and get the words down. It's like me sometimes with Spanish. Sometimes I'll be determined where I'm going to go out and speak Spanish all day long in El Paso. I go in the stores, I'll stroll in, I have my wrap on, say I'm going to speak Spanish today. And then mi español necesitar mucho trabajar. I need a lot of work. Sometimes my wife will tell me, why are you practicing your Spanish? I said, mi español necesitar mucho trabajar. I said, listen, I got to practice. If I don't practice, and then sometimes I'll be talking with someone in Spanish, in Espanol. I'm looking for the right word. And I don't find it. But I have to be kind to myself. Say, you know what? The only way you're going to get better is practicing and reading, which I do in Spanish. I read a lot of the great poets, Federico Garcia Lorca. I read Pablo Neruda. I read Octavio Paz, a lot of people. I most probably should do more, but I'm not going to beat myself up. Spanish on one page, English on the other page, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Try and get the words down as best as you can. Remember, you're a student, estudiante in Espanol. Like I'm a student, too. Get it down. Now, so you may know already what you want to write for me, but I want to give you some ideas. Okay? Because after, if you may, I had a student write me the other day, said, Miss Welsh, I already have it done. I said, we're not there yet, but that's cool. I can't stop you from where you are. Ask yourself this, class. Excuse me, search your memory. Ask yourself these questions if you're still thinking about what you want to write about, which is fine. Did you ever break an important rule or rebel against authority? What did you learn from your actions? Did you ever steal a car? Did you ever ditch school? Did you ever break curfew? Remember those times. Drop us in to that night. What happened? To rebel against authority. You rebel against going to church. You rebel against your parents. Did you rebel against the cops? Did you rebel against a teacher? Class. Did you ever succumb to peer pressure? There's another question you asked. Did you ever succumb to peer pressure? What were the results of going along with the crowd? What did you learn? Peer pressure. Maybe it's something had to do with sex, where you were like, I'm not really ready for this, but you got pressured into it. I hope that never happened to you. It might. Sex is a interesting thing. What did you learn? I've read essays that students got pregnant the first time they had sex, or maybe got a venereal disease, or maybe they fell in love. Can you write about that? Can you write about, I've had students write about sometimes, I hope this didn't happen to you, it might have. Peer pressure, the first time, it happens occasionally, some students, they smoke marijuana. For some students, it's not a big deal. For some people, it's a real big deal. Especially if it messes you up. Some people can hit it and have no problems with it. Some people, it opens up avenues to new paths. I don't know. I know from back home, people get on marijuana, next thing you know, somewhere down the line, they're shooting heroin. People get on marijuana back in the days, they get strung out on cocaine later on. They're doing acid, smoking angel dust. Was it a big deal? Was it not a big deal? Some people are going to hit it and put it down. Some people I knew people back home start smoking weed. Next thing you know, they're smoking it 5 times a day. Next thing, 20 years have gone by and they've done nothing with their life. I don't judge that. Some people can do things. Willie Nelson can. Snoop Dogg can. Some people messes them up. I've taught a lot of stoners at the community college before. And a lot of them can't get through college. I don't judge them. I used to talk to them in my office. I said, the reason you didn't do that essay, tell me, oh, Mr. Welsh, I was stoned. I said, I know. For some people, it's hard to write when you're stoned. Are you going to come out of the fog? I don't know. I've talked to students about all sorts of things. I one time told a student, why don't you try and go get a month without getting high? He said, I'm having a lot of problems. I said, why don't you try and go a month without getting high? See if you can do. Oh, I don't think I can, Mr. Welsh. Marijuana is my lover. I said, all right. I'm just throwing a challenge at you. Because evidently it's fogged up your mind and you're not getting work done in college. I'm not judging. It's just a challenge. How about the first time you got drunk? What happened? I hope you never do. Some people can drink, some can't. Your professor here, it's not a moral judgment. I don't drink because I could never do it successfully. I'm sharing that with you. I'm Irish, 100%. My mom was from Ireland. My father's Irish American. I know about drinking. I just don't know about doing it successfully, if you know what I'm saying. So I haven't had a drink in a long time. Doesn't make me say that I don't think about it, but I can't do it. I don't want to do it because I could never do it right. I could never do it successfully. So you can write about that. Patrick, listen, I'm doing a lecture. I need quiet. What? I'm doing a lecture. I need quiet. Please, thank you, son. Este silencio. So you can go do that somewhere else. So, class. So, write about those things. You could write about any of that. Or, class, also first. Let's talk about first. Real positive things. Could you write about the day you won homecoming? The homecoming game in a football game at your high school. What was that like? Did you win the regional basketball tournament? What was that like? Maybe you could drop us into the time you scored your first 2 points in basketball. What was that like? I still remember, my whole basketball career, I share with my son, I only scored 2 points in middle school. I only played 1 year, and I only made 1 shot. But here it is, 100 years later, and I remember my 2 points. My son last night scored 8 points versus Austin. Had a ton of rebounds. He's a good defensive player. Can you write about, important thing, can you write about the day you made the cheerleading team? Can you write about the swim meet? Can you write about the baseball game that you won and realize you out of town for baseball? Can you write about the night you made the scoring goal in a soccer tournament? Can you write about when you realized you had a talent that day for a musical instrument? Can you write about being on stage with a band and hitting it after rehearsing? Can you write about a spiritual experience that happened to you? Maybe the day and the time you were in church and you felt the power of Jesus Christ. Or you had a spiritual experience in the desert. Can you write about these things, positive things? Can you write about the time you found out that you wrote a good essay? Or maybe you got 100 on a math test. Class, any positive things like that from high school. Can you narrow it down? Can you drop me into that place? Class, can you remember the time that you told someone, or maybe someone told you they loved you if that happened? That's an important time. Where were you? Can you drop us into that scene? That's what you're going to have to do. Class, maybe the first time you found out you were pregnant. Was that a good thing? Was it a bad thing? Did you have the kid? Did you have an abortion? You can write about it. Good times, bad times. Class. Did you ever have to choose between two different options? You know, what happened? We come to crossroads in life. Sometimes maybe you're making a decision, I'm going to go away to school, I'm going to stay to school. Am I going to go to college? Not. What happened when you came to that crossroads? Am I going to move out of the house? I'm going to stay in the house. I'm going to take this job, not take this job. Can you write about that? Have you ever been appalled by witnessing an act of prejudice or insensitivity? Drop us into that scene. What happened? Was someone prejudiced against you? Because of your size, because of your color, because of your height, because of maybe a handicap? What did you learn? It's going to happen to all of us one way or another in life. Some people more, some people not. I don't know. I'm from South Central Los Angeles. I was the white boy in the neighborhood. I had to deal with that. Where it wasn't that cool to be the white boy in the neighborhood I grew up in. Can I write about it? Yes. Have I written about it? Yes. Have I done some healing about it? Yes. We all have our own stories, class. Was there ever a moment in life when you decided to reform or adopt a whole new outlook on life? Class. Yesterday I heard someone say on the radio, was talking about scripture and talking about King David, and David said, plant your tent in a land of hope. Plant your tent in a land of hope. Was there ever a time where you decided to have a whole new outlook on life? What happened? Okay. I've had students write about times where they decide they were going to reform. Maybe a student decides that, they're going to quit smoking. I don't see many people smoking very more, but I've had some students that try to quit cigarettes. It's hard. Or maybe a student decide, I'm going to quit doing this sort of behavior that I've been doing for a long time. What happened, class? So, once again, do some free writing about these things, class. I've given you a lot of possibilities here that you can write about. Drop us in. Focus. Your essay is going to be 700 to 1,000 words. And have fun with it, class. How are you going to focus it? Get in, get out. Let us know what you learned in the end. Go back and look at Annie Dillard. Go back and look at Gary Soto. Remember that you're memoir writing. You've done your homework. You're going to have that essay due for me on February 10th and on February 16th, providing, once again, whichever class you're in that I talked about at the beginning of this lecture on our course policies and calendar. You're going to send me through Blackboard messages when the time comes, and I'll have another video ahead of time that'll show you exactly the correct format that the essay will be in. First draft, verification from the Writing Center. They'll give you a slip, let me know that you went there, and the final draft of your essay that I will write, that I will grade, class, once again. So that's where we are, and have fun with these. And remember that this is a journey of exploration. And remember that when we write, we learn about ourselves. We can have illumination for ourselves on where we are, class, and once again, where we are heading as once again we continue this great journey in college. So, class, good luck. I'll have a question and answer session live in the days ahead. And I'm wishing you well and good luck once again with this assignment. Get in there, have fun with it, take it one day at a time, step by step. The memoir writing class. Once again, the writing from recall essay. All right, class. So with that said, I'm wishing you to have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you again. Good luck, good luck, good luck, as the Irish say. And I hope you and your family stay safe and well during this challenging pandemic time. Thank you, class.